This is an interesting one that somebody shared. This was from the Reddit. Chicago's new PlayStation tax shows how greedy politicians can be. So, the last time I used a PlayStation was, oh God, was it like the late 90s? I forget the year, but it was when the first one came out. We've talked about this before. I'm not a video game guy. As a kid and all throughout my life, video games gave me headaches. I don't know why. I've gotten emails from some people that shared that, where they were like, yeah, I'm the same way. I just thought I was a weird kid, but video games always gave me a headache, so I never got into video games. Still to this day, not into video games. Now, the one cool thing about that is that, when I was young, when I was a kid, I was the most popular kid at the video game hangouts. Why? Because I never wanted to play. I was just a dude that was just happy to hang out and talk to people. So I was everybody's favorite dude at the video game hang. Because Ron never wants to frickin' play. Ron, because everybody wants to play. But not me. Now, the exception to this, I can play arcade games in an arcade. That doesn't bother me. But game systems give me a headache. All that stuff gives me a headache. Even like computer games will give me a headache. But in arcade, I guess maybe because of the way the screen is, I don't know. But arcade games, at least in most cases, I don't have a problem with. Occasionally, there is an arcade here in Pasadena where I live where for you pay like $10 an hour and you just can play unlimited. And they have a bunch of arcade games from the 90s, which was what I was into growing up. The Ninja Turtle games, the Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. You guys remember those games. Oh, those games were so fun. Anyway, they have all of those games. Because that's what's going on in arcades. Arcades now are being catered towards people in their late 20s and 30s, because those are the people going to bars, generally. So they have the arcade games that those people remember from growing up. Ninja Turtles, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, maybe DDR. What other ones? You guys know what I'm talking about. You guys remember these games. You guys love these games. That's what you're seeing in bars now, because that's like the main bar demographic. The elder side of the millennials, which includes myself. Those are the people that are doing the bar games now, or that are most frequenting bars. So you have those types of arcade games, and arcades are having those types of games in them. And I'd like to think it's being passed on. Oh, Simpsons. That's the other one. Last time I went to the arcade, it was with a group of friends, and for the first time in my life, we beat the Simpsons game. Well, for the first time I was involved in beating the Simpsons game. We beat it because we didn't have to worry about quarters. And that game, it's one of those games where you just punch the bad guys until you win. So we just kept going. We didn't have to stop. So eventually we just beat the game. It was inevitable we're going to beat this frickin' thing. But I still, nonetheless, the 10-year-old in me was very excited. Was like, you did it! You did it! No quarters, no issues. Alright, so let's go to this thing. Chicago's new PlayStation tax shows how greedy politicians can be. Chicago is proof that there is almost nothing that government entities won't try to tax. Alright. They're angry here. If it moves, tax it. That government's eternal motto, as Ronald Reagan quipped. To this, the city government of Chicago has added, if it amuses, tax it. Grr. All right. This author is angry. Brittany's pissed. Brittany's like, why are you? And I don't know if this is written from a right perspective or a left perspective. I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. But Brittany's pissed off. Brittany's pissed. All right, so here's the thing that's going on. It's an amusement tax, apparently. Taxes in the U.S. are subject to change by state, county, and city taxing authorities in order to comply with rules stating to the city of Chicago amusement tax beginning November 14th, 2018. Is it fun? We're taxing that. PlayStation Store will now start collecting amusement tax on receipts. Interesting. The tax is specifically related to streaming services, so the PlayStation games themselves will not be subject. But in today's subscription-heavy economy, many users purchase these consoles as a medium to stream videos and music rather than using them solely to play games. Not to mention the tax will still include subscription services that allow PlayStation users to connect and play with other users around the globe. So if you own a PlayStation in Chicago, it is unlikely you will be able to fully avoid this tax. Well, you know, I think amusement tax are a bit much. I don't think that's a fair tax. I really don't. You know, I'm not against taxes if they're going to good things. I'm certainly not against, you know, if a tax funded things in the city. And I voted for different taxes in different scenarios. I've also voted against different taxes in different scenarios throughout my life. It's one of those things you have to read the fine print. I think this tax sounds kind of bogus. There might be more to it, but you know, this is my first introductory to it. But I don't own a PlayStation, nor do I live in Chicago, so I don't know how much this will affect me. Plus, I'm not a gamer. But again, I mean, hey, if the hourly price of my arcade, I recommend go to your hourly arcade instead. You know, as an alternative, go there, check it out. You'll meet people. You can say, hey, have you ever beaten The Simpsons before? I never have. But no quarters, no problems. That should be the name of that arcade, by the way. They should just call it No Quarters, No Problems. I'm going to open up an arcade next to them. I'm going to call mine No Quarters, No Problems. And everyone's going to be like, that's a way cooler name. Also, it's a reference to Mo Money, Mo Problems, which is a song that was a big hit back then, too. So this is really like millennial 90s nostalgic, you know, millennials / trail end of Gen Xers nostalgia. I'll have some, like, Daria-themed shit in there. I'll have some Beavis and Butthead stuff. And they'll be like, this guy is really catering to the market. We're going to his arcade. And then I'll stream the show from there. It'll be like you'll hear people. I'll be like, hey, they just won a game thing. And they'll be like, why does this guy own an arcade when he knows nothing about video games? Nothing at all. Apparently they gave him a headache when he was a kid. What the hell's his problem? But you know, it'll be quite the economic opportunity, I feel like.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and